It can be quite hard trying to find the keybinds that you want to play on while on keyboard. Well, today I'm here to make your job that much easier. I've been playing on keyboard for about half a year and it's safe to say I'm pretty solid already. So these are the keybinds I'd recommend for first timers in chapter 5, or even if you're pretty new to the scene by a couple months. It might still be worth changing your binds to more optimal ones. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed today's video, and thank you to Lackwee for being a positive member of the JKC community. Let's get straight into some keybinds. If you want a place to practice your keybinds, then I'd recommend a free build map such as this one. It's pretty beautiful if I do say so myself. Map code's on the screen, it's recently had a massive update. So you're going to find your keybinds right around here. You can see the keyboard control setting and this is where you're going to find them all. Now of course I'd recommend sticking with the movement of WASD. This is probably the best as it has a lot of keys around this area. Some people go for the arrow keys and KJIL, but those guys are just weirdos. Jump should of course be kept on spacebar, and sprint I have on control. I like to have all my movement keys right on the left side of the keyboard, all pressed by my pinky. So control is right in the bottom left of the keyboard, or it should be, and this means that your left pinky has to just slot in right there. Auto run is a setting I don't really use that much, so I have it on control numlock F2. It's a hard key to press, but I mainly use it when I'm gliding and I'm checking YouTube while I'm gliding in. For crouch and slide, I have it on shift. You'll notice that this is the key directly above control. And that's because, like I mentioned, I press them all with my pinky, so if I'm sliding or running, I can just move my finger up or down. Forget the force walk things, they're not really necessary. Fire and target I kept on the default settings. Reload I have on R, which I believe is default. And use I have on scroll wheel up. Now this one's pretty useful. Use this when you're opening chests, supply drops, caches, well not anymore because caches aren't in the game, or even when you're picking up weapons. Having this on scroll wheel is super good because it means when you're 50-50ing off spawn, you're most likely going to get the gun. Because I can scroll this scroll wheel far faster than any controller player or anyone else can press a singular button. My harvesting tool is on F as default, and my weapon slots are actually default because I find them pretty optimal. If you have small hands, you might struggle to press 5, so I'd recommend not holding anything super important in 5 if you have small hands and struggle to press it. I hold my AR in 5 or my follow-up weapon because I have pretty massive hands. 1 second! Make sure you pop and get JKC in the Fortnite item shop before we move on to the rest of these settings. It's the #1 way to support my channel. Let's go! In terms of building, I stick with shift while crouching because it's good to have consistency in crouching. The wall I have on mouse button, and the stairs I have on mouse button as well. I have 2 mouse buttons. I actually have some more, but they're a bit harder to press, so I don't use them. But 2 of my mouse buttons on the side being on the wall and the stairs meant that my progression went a little bit faster. It's a little bit easier to only learn 2 keybinds that are on a keyboard. But there is always options if you don't have the mouse buttons. For example, Q is a pretty unused key as it's only used to switch mode. So if you want to put one of your builds on Q, that would work. Benji Fishy actually had his wall on Q. Something like X would also work for a build as it's right next to C, which you should use to floor. I press C with my thumb, so my thumb kind of rests over the spacebar and presses C. But if I used X as another build bind, then my index finger would come down from D and press it. You just need to make sure you have your build buttons on different fingers. This means that you'll be able to learn the quickest and you'll be able to build the fastest. In roof, I have caps lock, which is right above shift and it's also pressed by my pinky. It's a super easy button to reach as it almost rests on it. And this means I have it all on different fingers. And if you stick with my suggestion of having the other builds, let's say the wall on Q and the stairs on X, then your fingers will also be pressing different builds. Place building I have on normal, and repair / upgrade I have on V. I don't really use that button though. Rotate building R, it's just self-explanatory. It's pretty default as well. And change building material I've also kept on default. A lot of the default binds we can actually learn from pretty well, because they are optimal, but some definitely need changing. Building edit I have on E and scroll wheel down. I have 2 building edit binds, not because I have double edit binds, but because I need scroll wheel reset. This comes into play later. The E is actually my edit button as it's right next to W and really easy to press, but the scroll wheel is actually for scroll wheel reset and has nothing to do with just generally editing builds. For actual editing, I've again kept it consistent with shift, and select building edit is on the default, but this is where we come to the rest of the scroll wheel reset on reset building edit. You can see I have this on scroll wheel down, and this means when I scroll down, I'm putting multiple inputs in. So the first little time I scroll down, it'll select a building edit, and the next groove that the scroll wheel hits, it'll reset the building edit. Means I only have to scroll down a little bit, and I've reset the building instantly. That's what scroll wheel reset is. And scroll wheel reset is overpowered. A lot of these type of things don't really matter, though I do have a place enemy marker / place enemy marker on Alt, because it's easy to press with my thumb just by going to the left of my spacebar. Emote doesn't really matter, I have it on a nice out the way button B, so I can definitely press it if I want to. A lot of this isn't really relevant, but toggle map I have on G. It's easy to reach, but it's further out the way than any of the other main buttons that I might need to access, and toggle inventory is right above my cone. I also press it with my pinky. This whole last row should all be your pinky. This is what makes it most optimal and allows you to keep your fingers on your movement buttons at all times. The rest of these settings are just kind of vehicle settings. I don't think they're really necessary. The one thing I would recommend when learning keyboard is keeping disable pre-edit option on. It's going to be a lot harder to learn keyboard if you're pre-editing everything. I played on it for the first 4 months. I think it really harmed my keyboard progression. I was pre-editing at least 1 build piece per fight, and it's a lot easier to learn keyboard if you just keep it off. That is all the settings today, guys. If you want to watch this video on screen right now, it's going to show you the best way to improve quickly on keyboard and mouse. You get to my sort of level pretty quickly. I will enjoy seeing you in that video, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. In a bit. You probably always wondered what happens after the video ends, so this is exactly what happens after the video ends. You call me, send text love, solo, but I wish you all the best love. I'll be writing on my Tesla fish your bets up.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Pull up in a ride, yeah, painted with some decals. I ain't never stopped, can't be trusting any females. Got a shorty blog, had her texting through the email. Walking right on top, I won't fall, that's a detail. You can call me or send a text, love. Going solo, but I wish you all the best love. Yeah, hit it lick, make a band, yeah, that's what I'm all about. I ain't trust a middleman, had to cash it all out.